I was reading the book written by Tommy Wonder, which goes by the name of The Books of Wonder, Volume 1. Today I have completed the book, and there's a lot many things about my perception that has changed about magic. This book that was fun to read and could be grasped in a short span of time, maybe read, not necessarily grasped and worked upon, but there are so many essential elements touched that not many magicians care to. His strong point is he takes up the simple magic and try to work on it. Why it's strong, why it's not, what's stupid about it, what's not. Is the misdirection strongly achieved? If not, what can be done? Does it make sense? Like he says, for every magic, you should find a reason, you should find a logic why it's being done. Then only you'll be able to realize and make it more inked into the minds of the audience. As also, he was telling about magic which keeps evolving over the time as people come and try to simplify it, and in the process its charm is destroyed. It nowhere looks as real as it used to be while vaudeville era, the first time it was being performed. He took the case of the cone and the rose plant. In that, a pot was filled up with soil and it was covered with a paper cone. As it was released, it was removed, there was a small sapling. It was covered up again. When it was removed, there was the plant, grown up plant. Then it was concealed again, and when it was removed, there were the roses, and as real as it can be, it was plucked and thrown into the audience for people to realize that it was all real. Then some gentleman came and he thought, why can't I put the plastic roses? I just don't have to throw it into the audience. So he just showed the plastic rose, and you don't think that it's important to make people connect what is happening on the stage. Now, someone else came, he thought, okay, why do we want to like to have that much big rose plant? Rather, we can have some plastic plant. Yeah, then came the plastic plant. Then another thought, why can't we have feathers instead of these plant and leaves? They decided to have the feathers, and when it was removed, the it nowhere looked as if it's something that belonged to earth. And then the entire thing was clubbed and put into a piece, and that was hidden in the cone itself. No urgency was shown, or it was considered important to show the cone was empty. And as it was covered up and concealed, the entire plant had just flourished. It doesn't look real. In the process, it may have been simplified and could have been called as practical by many, but it's not the case. Apart from that, he talks about a cycle in which we are recommended to keep our magic simple, even by most experienced. But when you start learning magic, he says you'll get good response from the audience. That is not necessarily the case that you're doing good magic, because the way you are performing shows you are a newbie, and people have got sympathies with you. They are ready to forgive you for small mistakes, which you won't be having the privilege when you are a seasoned professional, because people look up to you with that standard, and you'll have to perform when you're on stage, and that is reality. And he says you not necessarily gain up the level and achieve all those sets of skills and try to become the professional magician. It's not necessarily an elevation that goes to the top. Rather, he says it moves in a circle. You start simple, then you complicate, then you try to prune all the things that is not important, that is simplified. But the simple tricks that is being shown by the magician, that is top notch, and the beginner, they're both simple, but both are earning their reputation for different perspective, for a different level. One is truly the master, and it looks simple, but there are so many elements that goes into its making. He says when someone tries to be simple and try to do away with the things he thinks is complicated and just be as easy as it can be, he loses very much learning in the process. He says it's very much necessary to just learn about something that is complicated, why that is being done, why it is important, or why it is not. Is there a process that looks unnatural? If it is, can we do away with something that is simple and direct, makes sense, give you logic, and do not arouse any unnecessary suspicion in the mind of audience, because that is surely the killer. It's going to kill the effect of magic, and it does. That is a problem. And he says what you should keep in your mind is just try to be original, simple, and in the process just do not turn a blind eye to the complicated measures, complicated methods. Try to read through them. What is that? And learn about it. Take the learning, take the teachings, and try to imply it in a simpler form in what becomes your product. And he says when you go to a magic dealer shop, he'll show you many tricks which have been simplified over these years, and he himself doesn't know what could have been the elementary trick which was so much good, though it required not much effort. He says sometimes you'll find the gems hidden in old books. You should go through them and you will realize that this thing was lost over the period of year. The gem was lost, and what was adopted was not good. It was a piece of dust. And he says this takes some time and the art that should be respected to the utmost level, because when achieved it will truly give you satisfaction. And not just showing, it's about showing the tricks, but rather how you incite the emotions and connect with the audience. That is very much important. I'm lucky to have read through Tommy Wonder, and it takes a lot for you look around and search for inspirations and get moved by the things that deserves to be given an eye, a keen eye, a misdirection towards something that is important. That's all from my side today. There you go. Bye. Take care.